Hey, Pastor Steve Waldron here. I just got my copy in of Charles Darwin, Victorian Mythmaker, by that noted lucid writer A.N. Wilson. Now, I was looking at the Amazon reviews about this, and I can relate because they have to protect evolution. It is a religion with these people, and they have to protect it at all costs. So there's like all these 1-star reviews. And so I start reading through it. I haven't read it from cover to cover yet. I may do another review when I do. This is more just it lets you know it's out there and read to you from the inserts and all this kind of stuff. Show you some of the things in there, some of the photos and all this. But he has evidently struck a nerve. So very well done, by the way. You can see what the book looks like. I think that is just absolutely knockout, out of this world, how this book looks without the slip cover. Because it goes into his finches and all the things, HMS Beagle's on there, on and on. And still got the receipt in here. It cost $4.30 and then $3.99 shipping. So here's what it says. It says, Charles Darwin, the man who discovered evolution, the man who killed off God, this is all question marks, or a flawed man of his age, part genius, part ruthless careerist, who would not acknowledge his debts to other thinkers. In this bold new life, the first single-volume biography of Charles Darwin in 25 years, A.N. Wilson, the acclaimed author of the Victorians and God's Funeral, goes in search of this celebrated but contradictory figure. So we'll just read a little bit here. Darwin was described by his friend and champion Thomas Huxley as a symbol. But what did he symbolize? In Wilson's portrait, both sympathetic and critical, Darwin was two men. On the one hand, he was a brilliant naturalist, who never had a degree, by the way, in naturalism or science. A patient and precise collector and curator who greatly expanded the possibilities of taxonomy and geology. On the other hand, Darwin, a seemingly diffident man who appeared gentle and even lazy, had a burning ambition to be a universal genius. He longed to have a theory that explained everything. But was Darwin's 1859 masterwork on the origin of species really what it seemed, a work about natural history? Or was it in fact a consolation myth for the Victorian middle classes, reassuring them that the selfishness and indifference to the poor were part of nature's grand plan? Harkens back to Thomas Malthus. Charles Darwin is a radical reappraisal of one of the great Victorians, a book that isn't afraid to challenge Darwinian orthodoxy while bringing us closer to the man, his revolutionary ideas, and the entire Victorian age. And he's literally written the book on the Victorians. Now, it's got a great photo section. Like, this is the guy who really developed, in a sense, well, and I shouldn't even say that because there was others, but Erasmus Darwin, I'll probably do some reviews on his two books on the Temple of Nature and Zoonomia, but he was the guy that really, who was Charles Darwin's grandfather. He was a member of the Hellfire Club in all this, and who knows, Charles probably even got the theory of evolution from him. But you can see photo sections, just excellent. But anything A.N. Wilson writes is going to be very well written, and he's going to marshal a lot of facts. Now, I'm not sure if his theory on Charles Darwin is 100% right, that he wanted a universal theory of everything, but Lord willing, if I get the time, I'm going to read this and we'll see. I've read Charles Darwin's autobiography and I was highly nonplussed by it. I really desperately am trying to get the letters of Charles Darwin, but they're too much money. And, there's a lot of other things to give money to. The poor and the missions and tracts and on and so forth. So I'm not going to do that. Unless they come way down, or unless I get a lot of money, or unless the Lord just says to, and he's done that before. So let's go I'm going to read to you off the back praise for Charles Darwin. A book to treasure. A.N. Wilson throws down the gauntlet on the very first line. Darwin was wrong, he begins. What follows, and that's obvious, Charles Darwin. I just wish everybody would get off of it. Why is everybody just trumpeting this false thing? Unless, okay, Satan, I understand that. What follows is a sharply observed and wonderfully compelling analysis that evokes the Victorian Titan brilliantly and challenges received wisdom, a work of scholarship that is hard to put down. Deborah Cadbury, author of The Princes of War. Book list starred review. Though Darwin's all-encompassing theory is now widely regarded as paradigmic science, Wilson provocatively considers it a quasi-religious credo, no doubt about it. Like Marx and Engels, I mean, they're far more fundamentalists with no evidence. They got way more faith than I've ever thought about having. The Communist Manifesto ultimately doing more to shape political attitudes than to advance scientific understanding, sure to spark debate. Kirkus Review said the prolific novelist and biographer probes the character and controversies of Charles Darwin's life and the controversial theory that turned the world on its head, an illuminating new biography of a legendary figure in the scientific world whose legacy continues to draw reappraisals. And then the Evening Standard, Spectator, the Times, so they've done this. They're coming out with the book on Freud, which I hope to do a review on at some point, which totally eviscerates Freud and shows how wrong he is. We really need to rethink things, and what's established wisdom in one generation is not necessarily truth. So I appreciate A.N. Wilson for writing this. Highly recommend it. Hope you get the book. So God bless you. Talk with you later in Jesus' name.